Hi y'all and welcome. Today I'm going to be paying homage to my brother. If you know me, you know that my brother lives in Spain. So, Viva España. That's about all the Spanish I know other than hola or adios. So, today we're making one of his favorite meals. Not Spanish at all, but it's one of those meals that when he comes home, he always requests. He does have a few requests, so he pretty much plans out his own menu when he comes. But this meal is pretty simple, so I can literally make it when I come home from work. And it's pretty sustainable too. So it's just pork chops that have been seared with some spices and rosemary. So I call it rosemary pork chops. And we're gonna make some fried cabbage with bacon. That's the side. So let's get started.
Let's go.
So in here, we have some Creole seasoning. Now you can use any blend that you want. And I'm just gonna liberally season each side. These pork chops are about a 3/4 of an inch cut. And I had the butcher do this specifically. You can normally get thicker pork chops if you're gonna stuff it. This one's just shy of the stuffing type of pork chop. And I'm just gonna get this seasoning all over. And you really wanna season it all over. And we rather bone-in pork chops for the flavor. You always wanna use something on the bone. That way you do get a lot more flavor than you would something that's not, pretty much. And I do have to go with it some fresh rosemary from my garden, but I'm gonna season the other side too. You have any more questions for me?
Well, it is pretty early in the video, but what was your first pork chop experience like?
We used to actually make baked pork chops, not fried, for special occasions. When I lived in Trinidad, we would have like whatever seasoning, fresh seasonings on it, and just bake it in the oven. Normally we would have it for like Christmas, and it would have like a lot of garlic in it. We're huge garlic eaters and pepper eaters too.
Yeah, vampires don't like this house. So,
we're almost done here.
All right. I guess I'll ask you another quick question then,
Sure.
Since you're wrapping up that part. Who do you think would appreciate a good pork chop more? My Uncle Miguel, aka your brother, or Grandpa?
Lord, you'd have to fight Grandpa to get him away from eating pork.
Because I know Grandpa, like, we don't really eat out a lot these days because of pandemic, but like when we did here and there occasionally, his go-to, obviously, like when we went to Longhorns, the cowboy pork chop, like it's a must for him.
Yeah.
So who do you think would like?
It would be Grandpa.
Okay.
But,
I think that's a safe bet. That would be my pick too.
Okay, so we're just gonna put the rosemary in on here, and then we're gonna sear this in a hot skillet with olive oil for about 3 minutes on each side. And then we're gonna put it on a baking sheet with a rack. And I'm gonna show you a little tip for when you're using a thicker pork chop, how to make sure that it's moist and delicious. We'll be right back.
All right, so we got the first batch right here, kind of halfway done, 60% done to go in the oven. Mom is putting in the second batch right here. Got a couple left over for the third. And then we're gonna do our thing, put them in the oven, and that'll be that.
So our pork chops have come out of the frying pan, and this is kind of what it looks like. Remember, it's not all the way cooked. We just seared it on both sides. The middle is still raw. So you want a little rack like this. This is actually the rack from the microwave that I'm using because I wanted that little bit of lift on my baking sheet. What's gonna happen next is I'm gonna put this in a 250-degree oven for about 30 to 40 minutes.
I know what those are.
What are they?
They're Valdelia onions.
Of course. So there is a little bit of drippings on here, and that's great. We want that. So to this pan, I have some chopped up garlic. This is about the equivalent of 2 cloves. And you just rough chop it. I have a whole large Vidalia onion, our favorite onion to use. Really because it's grown here and it's the season for it and it's really sweet. And I'm just gonna put that down on the bottom, kind of keep it in the middle so that when your rack goes back, it isn't crowded.
And I will say this, like, even though we established on episode, like, our second video, that I'm not, like, an onion eater, that I'm, like, picky or whatever, or maybe it was the third video, the soup video.
All the videos.
Yeah, so even though we established I'm not an onion eater, what this is going to do, and she'll tell you too, she's adding more rosemary and some garlic, and the fat that is going to drip off of that with this white wine that's going to go there, totally not apple juice. What it's going to do is it's going to enhance the flavor of, like, the onions and stuff too.
Yeah.
And help the pork chops over there.
Stay moist. So I've got a cup of white wine, and you can use any kind of drinking wine. This is just a good bottle of Chardonnay that I had, and a cup of water. So it's really gonna dilute the wine a whole bunch. And then we're gonna put our rack back on. And so while this is cooking through in the oven, the onions and the wine and the rosemary, the fragrance from it is going to infuse into the meat. So you'll get that all over. And then the bottom makes a really nice sauce that you didn't really do anything hard. You just threw it in there. So it's like a sheet pan sauce. All right, so I'm going to stick this in the oven. And when we come back, we're going to start prepping for our fried cabbage. Can't wait. Okay, we're back. And we're gonna start our cabbage, but let me tell you the ingredients that you'll need. I have some bacon here. This is about the equivalent of about 5 strips of bacon that are thick that I cut up. A little bit of, and this is the center of the celery, but a little bit of celery, 2 carrots, a medium-sized head of cabbage, and bell pepper, and I like to go with a different color because the cabbage green and that's green. So I choose red today. Garlic. So this is the equivalent of about 2 to 3 cloves. Of course, the
Vidalia onion making its return.
For seasoning, a good tablespoon of Italian seasoning. And yes, I do have fresh herbs growing everywhere. I just tried this recipe with all kinds of different herbs, and this actually works best. Italian seasoning generally has rosemary, thyme, oregano, a little bit of marjoram, depending on the blend. And it's pretty much like the seasonal for everything. And the last ingredient I'm gonna add is a little bit of chicken base. Now, it's a chef's secret. A lot of chefs use chicken base in their cooking for that gone all day kind of flavor. Chicken base normally is chicken stock that they have hydrated, and it does have sodium in it. So I would kind of taste and see if you need to add, more salt, but I don't. The one ingredient that's not on this plate that it's up to you if you add is we like to add jalapenos because we like things spicy. So I will be adding a jalapeno to this once I get all done cut up. And we're gonna start cutting up, and then I'm gonna start my bacon in my pan, okay?
All right, Mom, so while you're chopping those up, without throwing you off, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
All right, so when it comes to Miguel, what is your, greatest memory of him? Since this meal is obviously a memorable one for him, what's your greatest memory of the person behind the inspiration today?
Sure. So, my brother and sister, I have a brother and a sister, they're all 8 years apart. So, like, my sister was born 8 years after me, and Miguel was born like 16 years after me. So I was pretty much a teenager when he was born. And one of my greatest memories of him is taking him to school, because I was going to like community college, and I would have to take him to school. His school was like across the road from me. And, you know, we would ride the bus together, and I would pick him up in the afternoon, and we'd ride back home. And he loved that. Another great memory that I have for the both of them is on Friday nights. Friday nights, we would always have some kind of us three kids cookout. You know, it would not be whatever my mom cooked. My mom always cooked, but it would be something else for us to watch, like a movie or something. Right. And like we would make homemade pizzas or just something like that. And the pizza didn't have to be like, you know, pepperoni or anything like that. It'd be like whatever we had. If we had a piece of baked chicken, we'd cut it up and it'd be chicken pizza. Or, you know, if we had a can of tuna fish, it'll be tuna pizza. It just didn't matter. It was just a great snack for us. But those are some of my favorite memories.
All right, sounds good. Okay, what about a signature dish of Miguel's that you liked? I know he's been trying to pick up his cooking game recently.
Oh, yes.
But, like, based on, like, the little bit of food or the lot of bit of food that you've had from Miguel, like, what's your favorite?
I don't know. He's kind of perfected my pork chop, and it looks like he's really doing great on some Trinidad dishes. But I would like him to be more influenced by the Spanish culture and cook me some food from Spain.
Oh yeah, I would like to see that mesh of like what he's got over there in Spain mixed with like his Trinidad roots.
Oh, that would be great. That would be awesome. And you know what? We'll do some more cooking later on, trying to mesh or fuse those cultures together and see what we come up with. I would really like to make paella, infusing some of our flavors in there. I think that would be awesome.
Maybe you make like a paella and you put some curry in there.
No. No, that's not what I meant. But let me finish this up, and then we'll get the bacon started, and we'll get this ball rolling. Good. So we've rendered our bacon, and this is it here reserved. And if you look in the pot here, this is the bacon grease, which is the best part. And to this, we're gonna add all our vegetables, our seasonings, and we're just gonna let it cook for about 15 to 20 minutes until it gets halfway tender, because you want a little bite on everything. So we'll be right back, and we'll show you the finished product. Hey y'all, well, we got it all done. See our pork chop, and here is the pan sauce. This is the same sauce out of the pan. This is exactly what it should look like. And I've just spooned over a little bit on the pork chop and our cabbage. Now our cabbage sauteed for like 20 minutes. No added water, no nothing. It's just fried in its own juices and the bacon grease. And I've added back the bacon on top of it for a little crunch, because you know we love that crunch. And we're gonna dive in and try it.
All right, Mom, let the people know.
I'm just gonna go for a tail end. That's a fat cap. Okay, so if you look in here, it's cooked all the way and it's really nice and juicy. And that's that little trick of putting the wine on the bottom and letting your pork kind of cook through. That really helps it. Oh God. Wait. The wine adds so much flavor to these onions. I can literally drink the bowl. It's really good.
So is that the description of what's going on in your mouth?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, the people want to know, like, yo, what about the cabbage over here and the carrots and the bacon? You know, your protein is as good as your sides, man. I don't know if that's an actual saying. I just, you know.
That's really good too.
Yeah, man, especially cooking down in that bacon grease, I imagine. I wouldn't know. I'm a picky eater, so.
Right, you should try this. But definitely, try it, like it, make it, be healthy, be safe, try our pork chops. They're really good. Like our videos, subscribe, and I thank you for all your comments. I love them. Keep them coming. Is there any question at all I can answer for you? I'm more than happy to. See you next time.